Well, welcome everybody to another edition of our SIUE Basketball Coaches Show. I'm Joe Pott. We're happy to be back at Global Brew, and we thank Urban Chestnut Brewing Company for being our presenting sponsor as always. Glad to be joined at the other microphone here by our head women's basketball coach, Samantha Quigley-Smith. Coach, a nice weekend, obviously, here at home at SIUE, and you pick up your first OVC win on Thursday against a really good Little Rock team near the top of the league standings. Just talk about that game a little bit. They came in as one of the best defensive teams in the OVC. You had to just kind of weather a little bit of a push from them at the end, but you outlast them and you get that first win.
Yeah, and they're historically one of the best defensive teams in the nation. Mm-hmm. Last year what they did from a defensive standpoint, it makes it really difficult for you to score. But I think Thursday was our night of defense in a sense. We did a really great job on them on that side of the basketball. It's been a point of focus of ours for the last couple months, just really focusing on that side of the ball. And so we had a really great night, and we weathered their storm.
Yep.
So I'm glad there wasn't another quarter. So that part was good. Our team took their punch, and they're all sitting here probably laughing at me. They're like, yeah, us too. But no, we weathered that storm. We took their punch when they came back in that end of third, beginning of fourth, and just really finished the game out. Some great free throw shooting at the end, but from a couple of the women that are sitting here.
When we talked a couple of weeks ago, it was after the Lindenwood game before Southeast Missouri, and you were talking about the energy and specifically the energy of your team to start. You got out to a really good start in that game against Little Rock, up 34-21 at half. Makes a big difference with the way you're able to come out in the second half, doesn't it?
Oh, certainly. I think you have a different pep in your step on both sides of the ball, but you also have a confidence about you.
Right.
And I think that game really did that for us. And while we didn't get the result we wanted on Saturday, I think that game solidified to our group that you can beat anyone in the league, literally anyone in the league. They were second in the league at that time, and I think they might still be tied for second or in the third top three of the league right now. So our team just believing that we are fully capable of doing something really special down the stretch here.
She's cheating off my notes, by the way, because belief is written right there.
It
so
is.
She's looking at my computer screen. That's honestly one of the things, though, that I wanted to bring up and talk about, because it's real easy for a team to fold when things aren't going well and when times have been tough. And that's not the case with your team. That's a testament to you. That's a testament to your coaching staff and the culture that you've built, is that there is that belief, and obviously getting that first win certainly helps, as you say, solidify that.
Yeah, and I would say there's been a fight with this group all year, and the adversity they've gone through from an injury standpoint, adversity when it comes to close games and not finishing those ones out. So to find themselves in a position of a top league team coming into our place and now saying, no, that's not going to happen tonight, was really awesome to see from them.
And the scoring was balanced. You get double figures from three starters. You had 8 points as well from Macy Sylvie, so you've got four starters almost in double figures there. But the balance obviously is crucial for success for this team.
Yeah, and just you play teams twice, and you see some of the things that they did well against you the first game. The Brooks girl played really well against us, their guard, and we did a really great job on her. So that was to the likes of Stoller, Sophie, Galuza off the bench, Czar. Multiple people got to guard her and did a really great job on containing her. Obviously, Faith Lee is a really, really good scorer. She'll probably be a first-team all-conference player. And we made her take tough shots. I felt like there were a lot of her shots. We looked over at the bench. We said, well, that's a tough one. Not much we can do about that one. So I think if we continue to put together defensive possessions like that, we're going to be in really good shape.
I've talked so much about what I like about conference play and that chess match between coaches, and that second time around, it's even more exaggerated because you're both looking at it's not theoretical anymore, right? It's like, this is exactly what we did against this set, or this is exactly what we did, against this player. That makes it even more interesting in my mind. Is it more challenging for you and your staff?
Actually, no. I would say right now we're at the place of, as a group, about 2 weeks ago, we changed our defensive mindset a little bit and said, we're going to change things up a lot. We're going to switch things. And so a lot of what we're doing now, teams didn't get to see, I would say, the first time around that we played them. And so we get to look back on the film and say, all right, what are some things we could do differently, maybe on the offensive end, but defensively we're going to do what we're doing. We're going to change things. We're going to make things difficult, confuse the other team, hopefully, and the opponent. and just try to frazzle them a little bit, make them think about the Cougars a little bit, which I don't know that they did that a whole lot the first time around.
Was that something that comes up just as you're getting ready to play teams again, or is it something that came up, based on your personnel, based on what you were seeing in practice?
I think it was based on mainly like the results that we were seeing and not feeling like we were making a big enough jump and impact. And so we really started at the week of Tennessee Tech, and we felt like that was pretty successful against them, even though we didn't win that game. And then obviously we saw a lot of success with it against Little Rock. And our team has really bought into it. I think they're like all eyeing the bench like, what sign does Coach Ariel have up next? It's kind of like a line-changing football type mentality where they're all looking over at the sideline trying to figure out what the play call is. But I think they've really enjoyed that. They bought into it. Now just continuing to take that to another level of intensity.
Yeah, the buy-in as well speaks highly of your players, willing to kind of make a change like that. That is, again, not something that's always easy to do at this point in the season, but speaks a lot of the personnel that you have on the floor.
Yeah, I think they're coachable. Like they're a group that we ask them to do something, and they're giving everything they have to try to do those things. And so we can't ask for much more than that. I would say on the offensive end, we clean up the turnovers, and I think we're going to be really special down the stretch here. So if our team can just focus on that, wink, wink, they're right here, so they could.
Obviously, as you mentioned, a tough afternoon on Saturday against a very good UT Martin team. Talk about kind of the way a quick turnaround to face a team like that. And I know it's something that everybody deals with in the Ohio Valley Conference, but making that transition, and it's also something where you're like, we want to celebrate the win, but we also have to put it aside pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a really, really well-coached group. I would say like it was the fight of who's the more disciplined team that day. I don't know that we were all that disciplined, and we didn't shoot the ball great. So you have a combination of maybe not being so disciplined on the defensive end, and now you didn't have a great shooting night, and that's what will happen. But we'll get another opportunity, obviously, moving forward here with another week and a weekend of some teams we've already played, so we're very familiar with them. I know our group was watching some of the scores after the game too, and seeing, getting to see some things that we could do differently moving forward here.
And the fact is, again, while it's been a tough run, you're just a little bit more than halfway through this conference, so lots of time, lots of games left.
Yeah, we actually sat down as a group, and in the locker room the other day, we pulled up the standings, and we literally showed the team, hey, this is what we need to do.
Right.
And this is where we are right now. This was before Little Rock, and so maybe we need to do that again. Should I pull that up again so we can see it again? Yeah. No, we also watched Remember the Titans, so maybe that was it. Another motivational sports movie.
But in all honesty, it is really in front of you. It's still in your hands at this point.
Yeah, and there's so many teams that are kind of at that bottom half of the league. To me, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like. If you win games, you're going to be in really good position to fight to get into the conference tournament, and that's what we're doing right now.
And then obviously once you're in, it's anybody in the tournament has an opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get a chance at Southern Indy too, and they've had a remarkable year.
Sure.
And we get another shot at them this Saturday. But they just lost a game, so I think you see so many possibilities as a group. Like you have opportunities all around you every week to do something different than what you did last Saturday, and so they'll get that again this week.
And we will look at those two games coming up in our last segment tonight. Coming up next here, though, at Global Brew, we're going to welcome in our guest of the week, and that is Hallie Smith, the junior from Bell, Missouri. So we'll do that on the other side of the break. It's our SIUE Basketball Coaches Show from Global Brew, and we're coming back. Back for segment number 2 of our SIUE Basketball Coaches Show. And I have with me tonight the junior forward from Bell, Missouri. That is Hallie Smith in her first year with the Cougar program. I have to admit, I had to look up where Bell, Missouri. I'm from St. Louis, lived there all my life, and I did not know where Bell, Missouri was. So you're just a little bit southwest of Missouri, or of St. Louis, is that right?
Yes, I'm 20 minutes north of Rolla, Missouri, if you know where that is.
Yep.
And I actually don't live in Bell, Missouri. I live 8 minutes out of Bell, Missouri on a cattle farm, a 100-acre cattle farm. So I don't even live in Bell personally, but
Wow.
I live close to it.
Now we've got a whole nother conversation we
Yeah.
can get into. A cattle farm. So you transferred to SIUE from Southeast Missouri State, which in these days it's becoming a little more common to see conference transfers. But was there something about SIUE that either you could kind of pick up from being an opponent, being on the other side? What attracted you to SIUE?
Yeah, well, obviously, like, I was familiar with the conference, but also I saw Coach Sam coach, and I really liked her coaching style. And when I came my visit, I really loved the team, and it felt like home to me. I feel like when you go through the recruiting process the second time around, your priorities change. When you're a high schooler, you don't always know what to look for because you're not in that state yet. And after being in college 2 years, my priorities changed, and I kind of had a different want and need. And when I came my visit here, they checked all the boxes, and so that was really important to me. I love the town, the school's great, but mainly Coach Sam's coaching style really stood out to me, and I saw it my first 2 years, and then came here, and it just checked all the boxes for me. So
it's really interesting that you say that some of those things changed. What are some of those things that maybe you don't think about when you're a high school senior that you thought about after a couple of years at school?
Yeah, so I think when you're a high schooler, you think about some of the materialistic things is the biggest thing. Like, I remember just talking to some of my people I was on my AAU team with, and they're like, oh, well, I want to play for a Nike school, or I want to play for this school. And it's like, those are such materialistic things that really at the end of the day have nothing to do with your day-to-day life. And like the big lights, and it's like you play under the big lights how many months out of the year you're with these girls and with these coaches 99% of the time. So I feel like seeing more of like the personality and the team, like asking on my visit, I was very adamant about asking girls how they truly felt about the place, the coaches, if they were really happy, and more of how they were happy personally was a big thing for me, and asking those tough questions that sometimes people are scared to ask on their visits, but I knew my second time around it was really important to me.
How has that first year been at SIUE and in the program?
It's been good. I feel like, I was telling my teammates, I think it was about a month ago, I was like, when your cup is empty, it's hard to fill others' cups. And I feel like since I've been here, my cup has been filled again, and I felt like I was able to fill others' cups. And that perfectly describes my experience here. I've obviously played my old school, and last week I played against UT Martin. I had a former coach that was coaching for UT Martin, and every time they come up to me, they're like, you look so much happier. My old teammates at SEMO were like, you look so happy. And it's obviously not easy going back and playing your old school, but to have them come up and tell me that just says it alone. Obviously the season, has standings wise, people looking on the outside could see that it's been rough, but personally, I feel very fulfilled. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm mentally better, and having people come up to me and tell me in my face, I look so much happier, and I'm smiling more. That means a lot to me.
That speaks worlds of, exactly what I was talking about with Coach Sam, that despite, obviously some tough times, that even from the outside looking in, it seems obvious to me that the team is connected, that the team has that belief that we talked about, and essentially you're saying that same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So what kind of advantage do you have, or do you feel like you have, staying in the conference? Because I think that's interesting as well, that you obviously a different school, but a lot of the same opponents.
Yeah, so obviously I'm super familiar with the conference, being in there 2 years. But another thing is that I've been on both sides. My freshman year at SEMO, we won 2 conference games, so I can tell the girls, being in that experience, it's not something you want to feel and try and motivate in a way. And then last year we had a better season when I was at my previous school, so just trying to share what we can do that it's not over yet. When I was at SEMO, we won our last 7 games in conference, and so just trying to encourage the girls that it's not ever over, and that we're still in it. Obviously what Coach Sam was saying, the bottom parts of the conference are so close, right, and really anything can happen if we just buy into what Coach Sam's saying. So I think in that aspect of being a leader and just trying to encourage people that, we can still do whatever we put our minds to is an advantage itself. But also just the fact that I played against these schools, knowing personnel a little bit better. I know I've been playing in the conference for 2 years, so the people that are my age, I know the personnel a little better, and knowing what I'm going into on game day.
Was it a challenge coming into a new locker room as essentially an upperclassman, as somebody that maybe would be looked to for a little leadership, but you're in a new setting?
Yeah, I feel like that has been something I've been trying to work on. Coach Sam, other coaches have been trying to encourage me to be more of a leader, and that's something I've been pretty focused on. Because I feel like when you do come in as a transfer and, you know, being in the same conference playing against some of these girls, like sometimes it's like, are they going to trust me, whatever. But I feel like the girls are bought in and they know that I want what's best for all of them, and I feel like they want to listen, and I've been able to be more of a leader, and it's gotten better as the years went on. So.
Well, no, that's good. That's great. Some fun questions for you now.
Okay.
Favorite or least favorite drill you have to run in practice?
Favorite or least favorite? I'm scared to say the least favorite. What if we do? Least favorite drill would probably be like fun ball. It's not actually fun.
Not so fun ball, right? Maybe
Yeah.
more accurately named.
Yeah, it's a trick name. It's not really.
How about pregame superstition or routine that you have?
Yeah, so I'm not really superstitious, but so before every game I'll have a Lonnie New, but that's because I feel like I absolutely need it. I'm only a junior, but I feel like as I get older I need it more. But me and Macy actually pray before every game, and that's really important to me, and it helps me get in the right mindset. And yeah, that's probably the two main things. But my Lonnie New and God, those are my top two.
Maybe not superstitious, but it sounds a little stitious,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Routine is important, though, right?
Yes.
Even if it is something, like you said, getting together to say a little prayer or something that you like to do to get yourself in that mindset, it does make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like when you stay in the same routine, it kind of gets you in the right mindset. You don't feel out of whack for the game. You know what you're doing, and it's helped me a lot, for sure.
You're getting set to go on the road this weekend. You've got obviously a good stretch of the schedule on the road to come. Sometimes that can be really good for a team as well, right? Getting away, getting on the road where you're just with your teammates.
Yeah, for sure. I think our group, you know, we have fun together and we enjoy being on the road, you know, lots of laughs, and I don't think we mind being around each other. I think it's a good time. So I'm actually looking forward to it. And, you know, we played Moorhead, we played Southern Indy this season, so, you know, we're familiar with it. And I think, like, you know, we go in, we beat Little Rock, they beat us the first time. It's harder for a team to beat someone twice.
Yep.
So I feel like that's kind of our mindset. What our mindset needs to be going into it is anything can happen, even though we're going on the road. It's like we can still go in there and win it.
Well, Hallie, it's been a pleasure to visit with you, a pleasure to watch you during this first season, and certainly look forward to a successful end of the season for you.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Thanks for spending some time.
Thank you.
That is the junior forward, Hallie Smith. We'll come back. We'll have one more segment with the Cougars head coach coming up.
Immerse yourself in academic excellence. Take comfort in welcome surroundings. Revel in exhilarating events. Discover invaluable educational experiences at a value rivaled by few. Southern Illinois University Edwardsville. The right place, the right people, so you can own tomorrow. Take your first steps to a promising future at SIUE.
Segment number 3 underway now. Again, a big thanks to Global Brew for hosting us on these Monday nights. Big thanks to Urban Chestnut Brewing Company, who's been generous and been our presenting sponsor since the very beginning. We've got the Cougars head women's basketball coach Samantha Quigley-Smith back with us. And obviously the important question is, what is fun ball? Where did it come from? Tell me a little bit about fun ball now that we're all interested.
Fun ball is very fun. It's a fundamental basketball drill.
Oh, I see. Now we know
Yeah.
where the fun comes from. All right.
But you scrimmage, and it's make it, take it. So anyone that scores.
Yeah.
So if you're a scorer.
Right.
And you're a competitor, then you like fun ball. Because you get to keep scoring. They're laughing. Because there's also a lot of running involved. I think that's why. We didn't even hear what her favorite drill was. You probably didn't. Maybe she doesn't have one.
Is it something that you came up with? Is it something
No,
you
it's
brought-
actually, it's from my playing days.
Yeah, that's
so
what I was gonna
at DePaul, we played a lot of fun ball.
You have a lot of coaches that have been in your life, Hall of Fame coaches that have been in your life, like Coach Bruno up at DePaul. How much do you balance, you know, what you take and what you've learned, and are there things that you're just like, you know what? Maybe that really didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but it really amazing. He just went into the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame a couple years ago, and now he's on the ticket for the Naismith Hall of Fame too.
That's awesome.
So that's really cool.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, I would say there's a lot of things from a coaching standpoint that you really enjoyed and you took to heart. Obviously, he was a big, prominent figure in my own wanting to go into coaching and being a mentor when it came to that. And now the coaching's changed, I think, just from a generational standpoint. So maybe some of the things he was saying to me back then, I probably can't say to some of our student athletes right now. But I think there's a learning process that happens with all of this as a coach. Much like a player, you know, as a freshman, I was probably going into things thinking I knew everything. And then by my junior year, I figured out that he knows everything
Right.
and that I know nothing. So.
Real quick, and we'll get into this week, but is there something that, you know, he taught you or he would do that, again, maybe it was like, I don't really understand what we're doing here. Now not all of a sudden, but now as you've gotten into coaching, you're like, that is why we did that, or that, you know, the light went on.
Okay, so this is cheesy, but he used to say this all the time. He used to tell us, wake up in the morning with a smile on your face, show the world you're beautiful, and thank God for another day. You know, and that's such a great, even for our team that's sitting right here, like, again, yesterday was yesterday, today's today. Like, we have to focus on the today and the present, and that's really, really important. You know, so I would think about that all the time. He would say it to us every time we walked into his office, every day, you know, and we'd probably be like rolling our eyes at him, you know, but now I think about it, I'm like, gosh, that's like so true to everything in life that you go through. Obviously, we're going through quite a bit of adversity, so our team just understanding that, hey, today's another day, and we can do something different than we did yesterday. So
let's talk about this upcoming week. Morehead State, Southern Indiana. You touched on Southern Indiana a little bit. Top of the league, obviously. Really, really good at home. Morehead State, I've always found Morehead State, I feel like it should be a tough place to play. You've done well there. You've gotten a couple of wins there the last couple of years.
But it is a little bit different. It's quiet.
Yep.
It's kind of got a little bit different lighting, I would say. And they've got a really great scorer in Veronica Charles, who potentially could be a first-team all-conference player. So I think just us keying in on that defensive side of the basketball, and we did a pretty good job on them in the first game in a half-court defensive sense. A lot of their baskets came in transition after turnover. So we take care of the ball, we defend in the half court. It's going to be a good day.
Have they seen the defense that you talked about earlier, or is that something that'll be new to them as well?
That'll be new to them too. So I think that part of it, without sharing too much, obviously,
right.
though you could watch our game and see all the different signs and the different changes we're making. But our team just being really focused and locked in on whatever defensive scheme we have for that possession. I really do feel like in this last 2 weeks, it's really thrown some opponents off.
Southern Indiana, as we mentioned, really good, obviously, top of the league, just a single loss. They're 10-2 at home this year. Is there a little bit, do you feel like that can be a situation where the pressure honestly is on them?
Yeah. And I think the other part of it is just us having that familiarity with them. You know, just knowing personnel a little bit better, understanding who their shooters are, who their post play is, and then just being really disciplined that day. They're a very disciplined bunch. I've known their coach for years. We've coached against each other. I think I counted and told him 12 to 13 different times that we've coached against each other in the last 5 to 8 years. So just being very familiar with his style of coaching and how they want to play, us just taking a little bit from that first game.
There's literally no secrets between the...
No,
I mean,
there's not.
Because that's something that even more than what you're seeing on film and what you might know about a team, when you've coached against, when you're literally thinking about, okay, I know what the tendencies are, I know where they're probably going next.
Yeah, for sure. And they're so balanced in scoring too, so it's got to be like a full team effort defensively. We can't just have one or two people defending and guarding. We need the full group to be really focused on guarding, stopping their matchup, containing that player.
I don't know if it's been mentioned, but you have 6 of the last 8 on the road to finish the OVC season.
Bring it on.
Right.
What else can we take, ladies,
exactly.
right? Like, bring it on. No.
Just as I ask, when Hallie was up here and I asked, that can bring a team together, right? When you go on the road and when the focus becomes those games and your teammates, that can bring a team together, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're doing some different things from a team camaraderie standpoint where they're staying with different teammates, they're asking each other questions, we're doing some team bonding things on the road, which I think is really enjoyable for them. Obviously, we had a great trip up to Chicago over the winter break where we did a comedy show thing. And so having those experiences together, I think really helps bring you together when you get in between the lines on the court and when the lights go on at night. So having more and more of those, and a 6-hour bus ride that ends up becoming 7 because of the time change, and depending on maybe what bus driver you have, it might be even longer. If they got to stop or we got to stop or whatever it is, you have all of those experiences together. So those are always great fun moments that we have. Coach like walking through the line of the bus to try to get to the restroom in the back.
Oh, yeah, it's like parkour.
It is.
I know.
It's like
I've done that
Minecraft.
myself, just trying to get yourself from the front to the back, no question about it. Coach, always appreciate the time that you spend with us. It's great getting to know your student athletes as well. Thank you all for coming out tonight, the team specifically for providing some support. We certainly appreciate it, but we'll see you in Kentucky. Good luck at Moorhead and Southern Indiana.
Yes, thank you. And see you guys next week. We have the 2 home games.
Yes, we do.
Down the stretch.
The last 2 home games of the season, of the regular season. Yeah, Lindenwood and Southeast Missouri.
Yeah, senior night Saturday.
That's right. Senior
you.
night on Saturday. So all of that, good reminders for sure. The Cougars head coach, Samantha Quigley-Smith. Again, thanks everyone for coming out for this edition of our women's part of the coaches show here at Global Brew. Thanks to Urban Chestnut Brewing Company, and we'll have more to come.